So what's really going on with the NBA betting scandal? Now, when I found out that all of this culminated and the arrests were made on the opening day of the NBA season, I thought to myself, that seems a little too convenient for the FBI to be making these arrests on that day. That sounds like someone's trying to send a message to someone. So what could that mean? Is it just players who are trying to make some extra cash, or is there something bigger going on? I think, again, this is just my opinion, I have no evidence for this whatsoever. I think that the betting agencies, these betting websites, the sports book, the bookies, I think that they have had a hand in every single sport since the beginning of betting. Once we figured out betting, I think they've had their hand in every single sport. Every single interaction, they've had their hand in. Now, that might be a direct hand, which I think is less common today. What do I mean by direct? You're gonna miss this shot and you're gonna lose this game. Instead of scoring 30 points, you're gonna score 20 points. The referees, you guys are gonna call fouls on this team to make sure that this ends up happening, all right? A direct line of, hey, you do this for this outcome. We want this outcome, you're gonna do it for us type of thing. I think more of it is in the line of indirect. Indirect would be something like, hey, NBA, do you wanna make some money? Extra money? Okay, great. It would be really nice if these things could happen on occasion. We will kind of coordinate with you and you can coordinate with us about how we can set up for our friends and set up for random people as well to keep the action going on the betting so that these favorable incidents happen for us. Does that sound like a plan? We'll give you a cut, all right, of these winnings, because every transaction that happens through our websites, we take a cut. So we're going to give a cut of that if you can make some favorable things happen for us. Now we have things like the NBA rest days. Rest days. When do these happen? Who knows about these things? Are these things scheduled in advance so that certain people can advance their self? Again, like I said, people might be in dire straits and be spending their money, and they might directly need money, and they might actually do some of these things on their own. I'm not saying that's not a possibility, but the way that this was handled and the way that it happened on opening day to put such a black mark on the sport itself, it seems like to me there's more going on. So if that is the case, if that is a possibility where the bookies and the NBA are conspiring together to make certain outcomes happen, which might even be well above the players. This might be handled from the league office itself, and certain players are notified of it and most people aren't. But who knows? Again, like I said, it could be small, it could be big, who knows? But they have an agreement. What I also think has happened is the government, like the mafia, all right, takes a cut of all of that. And they say, hey, if you don't want us to arrest your guys and make an example out of you, you better give us our cut. Now, maybe what's happened is the change in administration. There's been an investigation going on for a while. Maybe the change in administration and a new FBI director, excuse me, maybe the NBA, maybe the bookies said, hey, let's cut them out, or let's negotiate a better deal for us. We'll negotiate with us and we're going to give them small potatoes, all right? They had this deal before. They said, hey, we'll look the other way when these things happen. We'll make sure that, betting things and all of that it's looked at as small scale. You guys have no influence over these things. It's just individual rogue people. We'll do that if we get our cut. And I think what happened on opening day was, hey, we've got the power here. We can shut all this stuff down if we're not happy. Right now, it's just these guys. But they sent that message on opening day to, I think, communicate with the NBA and the bookies about what's going on. I think you're very naive if you don't think that games have been rigged in the past and that the booking agencies haven't conspired with the NBA. I don't know if it's a grand, whole scheme that goes on all year round, but There's a big reason why I think that's a huge possibility. Again, I have no evidence of this other than the fact that betting is now promoted. I used to watch sports and watch ESPN when I was a kid. Growing up with basketball, it's my love. Watched every single sport growing up. Betting was looked down upon. Betting is for losers. Betting is for gambling degenerates. Pete Rose was made an example of over and over again. They would talk about these things, guys throwing away all this money. Now on ESPN, they have shows dedicated, they have segments dedicated just to betting. A huge 180 in a very short period of time. It was not that long ago that I was a kid watching ESPN on the couch, waiting to go to school every single morning. Now it's completely opposite. It's promoted. It's welcomed. There's so many different betting apps and websites and all these different things going on, and they're promoted. They're talked about on a regular basis on these channels. So what I think has happened now is because the sports money has gone through the roof in just a short period of time. Since, Magic and Bird really didn't make that much money. Jordan took it to another level. Now these guys have taken it to the next stratosphere. It's gone global because of Jordan. So in the past 20, 30 years, what's happened is the money has just come in and the outreach has been there. So they're saying, hey, all right, we want to take advantage of this popularity that everyone is paying attention to your sport. People are betting on these things now. The money is going up. The players have more money. Let's find ways of making even more. Let's come to an agreement. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's even create narratives. Let's make it more, make things more dramatic in your favor, NBA. We want that to continue. We want it to grow even more. We'll help you if you help us. So these things start to happen. The government's sitting over there going, hey, all this stuff, this illegal stuff, it's kind of notorious for the government to say, yeah, these illegal things we care about. These things, whoa, what do you mean those things? They ignore some things and then they punish other things. We all know that there's corruption going on in so many different areas of so many different places, government being one of them. So when these things happen, if they're not giving their cut to the government, to the big boss mafia, basically, they're going to get upset and they're going to come down on them. But that's why I think everybody's happy. I think they've all been on the same page, but maybe not recently. And maybe that's what's going on. And they're making an example out of a head coach, active players, okay? This is very interesting. The UFC just went through one of those things with one of their guys. Okay, and these guys were betting, but they were really giving information over to these booking agents and these investing guys who are trading big money. So it was kind of more of a rogue thing. And what did the UFC do? No one can bet, not a coach. If you bet on anything, you are out. So they nipped that in the bud right away. So I don't know how deep that is in there, or if they said, hey, you got caught, all right? You screwed it up for everyone. Now it's only us, the powers that be, the people who have more of the information. We get to use that, but you small potatoes guys, you don't. I don't know if that's what's going to happen in the NBA. I don't know if they're going to say, hey, players, you were in on it. Now you're not. Now we're going above you. It's always been above you, but now you're not even part of you're not part of the table anymore. I don't know, but I think that there's more to the story going on. I think that there's a bigger scheme going on, and it's just the normal thing that happens with big corporations, with big money. They say, how can we make money off of the little guy and keep him in the dark? Because at the end of the day, this is why they talk about casinos and gambling and these things. The house always wins. Who's the house in this situation? The betting agencies. The more popularity happens in the sport, the more eyeballs on the sport, the more chances for betting. Oh, ESPN, can you put a segment on? Great, more people betting, more people betting. They're taking a percentage off of all of that. If they can shift narratives, okay, and let people have some wins here and keep them betting, they know that at the end of the lifespan of any gambler, they're going to not come out on top. If these people have a ton of money and they're betting large amounts, but it's small potatoes to them, they're wealthy and they're just making a little bit of profit here and there, it's funny money to them. It's not for the average everyday person. They're betting their paycheck to try to double it because they have these delusions of grandeur. They want to hit it big. And that's what I think is sick about this. That's what I think is sick about ESPN promoting gambling, because they know that that's what's happening to the small guy. It's not a win-win-win with the little guy too. It's a win-win-win bookies, leagues, government. It's not helping us. Just like a lot of the problems that are happening in our world today, whether that be via the healthcare and the hospitals and the government and the big food industry, all of that stuff is making more money while we are getting sicker. It's the same sort of thing that I see going on with this. So the fact that this ended up happening on day one, it seems like someone's unhappy and they want to renegotiate, or they want to say, hey, do you know who's boss here? And so I think that this will be long forgotten. I think it will be very, very quickly taken care of, because the NBA and these booking agents, they do have a lot of money and it's name your price. Okay. We will let you in on it. That's what I think is going on. That's why I think this stuff is going to go away very quickly. Should it? No. We should say something's illegal, it's illegal. But we know that it's only for show. It's only for certain situations, certain instances. When we're not happy, that's when we're going to clamp down on you. That's it for today. Until next time, I'll see you then.